Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Crescent City Cup Round 17. I am Nits Chagti. I'm joined here by my co-commentator, Matt Canik, and today we're watching a Collins game between Chris Lipe and Josh Castellano. Josh Castellano, who is at 12 and 4, one game ahead of the rest of the pack. Chris Lipe coming up with 11 and 5. I'm so excited to see this game go down. Chris Lipe is one of the strongest players that I've ever played. Josh Castellano consistently kicks my butt at the DC club, which, hint, hint, you should come join us if you are in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Chris going first, and he's already drawn the V. Oh my gosh. Matt, how are you
First
feeling?
tile of the morning is a V on that rack. That's not what you want to see, but if you are going to see a V, you want to see some synergistic stuff to go with it. ATELORV is not going to yield Chris a 7-letter bingo on the first turn. Could give him some eights, but he's going to have to choose a play to make here. Classic long versus short decision, a 5-tile play putting the V on the double letter word versus VOL for 12. Both of these are good options for Chris. You can see him hitting the New Orleans Monday morning. I'm not feeling so great about this turn. VOL or VOLED, Nits, you got a strong preference about these plays?
You know what? I'd actually play oval, like OVAL. One, I want to put the V out in space. Obviously, you want to play the V when you can, right? I'm okay with something like Valor, but I really like Oval. I like the leave of RED. I like the what it's doing to the board afterwards. Do you think that might be something that you would prefer, or are you going to play long here?
Yeah, man. Okay, you can play 3, you can play 4, you can play 5, you might even play 6. LOAVED, not a bad option for Chris Life here. You can do whatever you want. It's New Orleans, baby. 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these plays are simming within a point of one another. So, just kind of pick your poison. There's a lot of poisons you can imbibe in here in New Orleans. Perhaps I did too much last night.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, Matt.
oh my gosh, Matt is correct.
Well, for Chris, I think this would have been the perfect move to go second, right? Like, I mean, look
Yes.
at that rack. He can bingo with a C, an E, an F, a G, I, N, O, R. He has so many possibilities. If only he could just go second, and he really can't.
Yeah, man, this is one of those classic. Like, I just wish you went first instead of me. Except if Chris let Josh go first, Josh drew into a natural bingo on his first turn. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna see this game. I don't know what we're gonna see from Chris Lipe. I am not the Chris Lipe whisperer, but we are gonna see. This is what I would do here. I play longer. He's gonna play Volar, VOLAR. This is a good idea. Score some points now. Don't shell out quite as much for the bingo and see what you draw.
And also, don't give Josh Castellano a place to bingo. Now, he couldn't have known that, but the great thing of putting the V out in space is it's gonna make it harder to overlap, and you're gonna have to just have a hook, or you're just gonna have to play an 8 that's not gonna score very much. And in this case, Josh Castellano doesn't have anything. He's just got that 7 that doesn't play. The 7 being Guarani, Guarani. It's a monetary unit of Paraguay, and it doesn't play on this board.
Wow, yeah, unbelievable that Josh is sitting there with the 7-letter bingo on his rack and it's blocked and it doesn't fit, it doesn't slot on top of anything. But we've seen when a player gets hot and they've got a bunch of equivalent decisions, they seem to pick the player or the play that just obstructs everything for their opponent. Seem to have these spooky premonitions, and Chris's premonitions coming true this morning. Is Chris Lipe going to go 4-0 and win the Collins Field? I think that's right.
You think Chris Lipe is going to go 4-0 and then win today?
You see, he just blocked Guarani on accident with everything. If he'd picked some of those other options, maybe he wouldn't have. I don't know. That's a spooky omen. Voodoo happens here in New Orleans. I think Chris Light might just win today.
I am not even going to question you. Like, I have seen your predictions come true in some really crazy ghost like fashion before. I'm not even going to question it. What I am going to question is what Josh does here, right? Like, does he play something like VAU, get rid of that A, get rid of that U, and keep a fantastic leave of AGINR? Or does he just exchange AU? Now, Josh is a very strong equity player. He's pretty flexible when he has to be. He's looking through his tiles. I think he's looking for a double double through that O. See if he can find one. It's uh, it's a spot where he would score the most should he choose to do so. Really tough move here for him. I mean, you'd never feel happy, seeing that G, but he's got that IN combination with it. He's got the R, he's got the A. It's gonna make him really happy, but he has to get rid of that AU, and he's either scoring 6 or exchanging or playing something else for like barely any points.
I'll play devil's advocate here because there's not enough devil's advocate in this city. There is 20 points available to Josh rather on this turn. Avruga, Avruga, is 20 points. I like the stable nucleus of AGINR with a bunch of floaters in space. I'm drawn to a play like VAU or UVA, as you suggested, but Avruga could be another line of approach here for Josh Castellano. They all make sense. I'm not going to nitpick any play he makes, whether we see a 6-pointer just dropping the U and the A. If we see a longer play, we might even see AUA stacked down on top of this. And none of these are bad plays, but Josh needs to pick one of them here and progress the game. No compelling options though.
Well, now that you mention Avruga, I think something like Juve is also great here. I mean, you draw into an E, you set up Juve. I think this is a really, really, really nice play. And you've kind of forked the board. You have two places. So he's got the G. He's going to have an ING bingo that's going to go with GU. He's also going to have that A there should he have a 7 to play to the side. I think this is an incredible play. Great recognition on his part. And that's exactly what you expect from a player like Josh Castellano, the current North American Scrabble champion. And I believe he has blocked Chris Lipe's bingo of Goodyear, Goodyear. Incredible. They're both reading each other so quickly.
Can y'all feel the voodoo in New Orleans? We both draw bingos and then we both see them dry up right away. It's the vibes. All right, so Grody coming down here from Chris. He's choosing to keep AE on his rack. He could play additional vowels, something like DOGEY in the same spot, but vowels are becoming more and more in style. We'll see what Chris draws as Josh drops down the bingo. His fish was successful. Grainier comes down for 80.
Fashionable vowels in Collins, but I don't like AE more than I like AR. If he had played something like Doji, DOGEY, also a really good play, also scores well. I think the same exact points and keeps AR. I mean, I like that so much more than AE. And Greenier, great find, good play, gets it down immediately. That's what you want to do. Josh Castellano in the past has suffered with his time. He has had to make, quick plays because of that. And I don't know why I was ragging on Chris Lipe because he's just drawn into a natural bingo.
Chris Lipe knows more than we do. He felt the voodoo vibes. He felt like AE was the right leave, and he's drawn into Asinine here with a number of spots to play it. It's anagram Insanie, INSANIE, is a pretty New Orleans word, honestly, if last night's any indicator. Chris will either play Asinine or Insanie here on this turn. He's threatening a bingo, and he'll find it.
I'd love to see Insane go down with Yuva. I mean, that is 68 points. That is one fewer than Asinine from AA to the side of Yuva. But oh my God, it's so defensive. Like, wow, that is a great play. You're not giving back any, you're not giving back any floaters except for that eye. Really, I mean, I would love to see if he does that. You don't really want to open up a triple unnecessarily with Asinine going down with AA.
Yeah. If you can avoid opening the triple for just a 1-point sacrifice, that's not a bad idea if you're Chris. I think instead of him bingoing for 69, making AA, he's going to bingo for 68 here, making UVAS, and that's a perfectly reasonable and defensible decision. That's what he's thinking about right now. I'm certain a player of Chris Lipe's caliber has spotted these bingos. He's just sitting there trying to figure out exactly which bingo to play and which line he wants to play it in. But he's seen everything. Take your time. There's no suspense here. Chris is a beast of a player. I just wonder which bingo he's going to play. I wouldn't expose the triple here, but you play your gut on decisions like these.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he's going to go ahead with something lower scoring, something like Anilines. Now, I wouldn't expect that to happen, but the Ella Volar gives ANILINES, Anilines, the word. And the thing is that it takes away that A, takes away that N, takes away that I to be able to play through. It even blocks the NIE of Grainier. Now, Insanely, the best choice here coming down. Fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Good job on Chris's part. Great recognition.
You can't always get what you want, but in New Orleans you usually do, and Nits gets the bingo she was hoping to find. Insanie, the play from Chris Lipe. Insanie gets a thumbs up from each of these two washed-up has-beens in the booth. Just kidding. This is a rising, emerging star. I am the washed-up has-been.
Has-been. Oh my gosh, we're going harsh today. I don't know, Matt. I mean, I love having you here. You have so many great insights. I'm not thinking that you're a has-been. So I mean, I don't know about you guys. You seem to really enjoy our, commentary dream team. So I'm saying this is a good match.
Oh my goodness, washed up has been. That's all I am and all I ever have been. Our AEGFST, the pull for Chris last tile is an R. Okay, we'll see. Bingo's possible for Chris on the next turn, depending on what's available. AABEKLL, the rack here for Josh Castellano. There is a double double available on this turn. I'm not sure that's the correct option, but I'm just gonna shout it out right now. It's also a pretty New Orleans word if this means what I think it's gonna mean. Let me look it up real quick. But a reasonable New Orleans word. Yep, Alco, ALKO, down to the O in Volar is another good option. So Josh has a double double this turn. Josh has Alco holding the nice synergistic ABLE combination. I think we're going to see one of these two lines of approach from our reigning North American Scrabble champion. What do you think, Nits?
Well, I mean, I really like Alco now that you mention it. That's a really good play. I think he's gonna see that, but he might also consider something like Balneal, like Balneal L through the N of Granier, Balneal, Balneal. That is a word that means of or pertaining to a bath. Balneal, which is I've never heard of that before. Um, that word is going to be 36 points. It's going to keep a K, and it's so many points. I can see why it's going down. I mean, that is, you see the points. You want to keep ahead. You want to make sure you're not falling behind by too much. I really like this play.
This is a huge decision, though. Balneal's a good play, probably Josh's best play, but the F or the L in space is going to give Chris a much easier decision on this turn. He had no playable bingos until the L was exposed, and now he's threatening one.
Oh
74
wow,
points lined up for Chris Lipe as soon as he finds this, and he won't take much more time here.
that's incredible. That is wow. I mean, before you're right, he had his options between something like Goof or like faggot or something, and now he can just go ahead and bingo in a place that's not even gonna give back floaters. Like, what's Josh gonna do with that that S of floatages that comes down? Basically nothing.
Yeah, this is a just exactly the L the doctor ordered. Chris Lipe was probably sitting there looking at this rack, seeing, I don't have any sevens, I don't see any eights, and then voila, an L floated out into space. Flotage is likely to come down for Chris Lipe. The only playable bingo for him. He's good. He won't miss it.
All right, all right.
This is the Crescent City Cup. We cut straight to the action because one of the commentators in the booth, who is not Nits, rolled in 3 minutes late. But I want to remind everybody we are bringing you Scrabble from New Orleans, Louisiana. This is the final day of action for the Scrabble tournament. Round 17, 18, 19, and 20 all coming your way this morning. We haven't necessarily made decisions about which lexico we're going to show all day. We have decided we're going to show drama all day. So drama, we're going to see who wins the Scrabble tournament, who wins the several grand, and also if Matt can actually make it through 4 games of Scrabble this morning.
You know what? I believe in you, man. And I also believe in all of the players that we're about to see over stream. I don't know about you. I have a hard time just rooting for one player. I mean, they're all so good and they do such incredible things over this board, making beautiful, beautiful decisions, playing so elegantly on, just making these incredible boards to learn from and to enjoy. And I've never really found myself being like, oh, I really, really think that I want this person to win and I'll be upset if they don't. I think that there's so much enjoyment to be had all around that we can just have a great time.
Enjoyment is always the name of the game, but when Scrabble gives you tough positions, enjoyment is not what you show on your face. Look at Chris Lipe right now. He seems to be in some pain. Now, I don't know if this is Bourbon Street induced pain or if this is just the rack he sees. Perhaps he sees another bingo option. Maybe he hasn't seen flotages left, but this for Chris is a turn that has one option that is significantly better than his other plays. Got to find it, got to spot it, got to hold yourself together after a late night in New Orleans. Oh man, if he misses this bingo, I'm going to blame Bourbon Street because
Oh
Chris
my
Light
gosh.
knows it.
He's gonna see it. He's gonna see it. He's got FO to the side. He's gonna see it. He's gonna slot it.
I don't know. The bingo wasn't there when he was watching Josh's turn, and if you're going to miss a bingo, this is how it happens. You didn't see it when your opponent's time was running, and It was exposed. You got the letter you need. Oh,
Ooh,
jeez.
he goes with forget, which I think would have been a really great play if the L wasn't on the board. So this is, I mean, it's one of the better non-bingo plays, if not the best non-bingo play. ES is a fantastic leave. It's early morning. We're starting, half an hour early, so I can understand maybe missing a bingo right now. It does suck to see you want these players to do their best, and it really hurts to miss a bingo, especially when you come back.
I'm gonna blame Bourbon Street for that one. Surely Chris Lipe knows those words. Just an early start to a long day after a lot of Scrabble for him there. Josh Castellano back on turn. He threatens 42 this turn. Nits, tell us what that is.
Oh my God, are you looking at map like through the A of Greenier? Wow, that is a
Precisely.
good find. That's a good find. I'm sure if there's someone who's going to see this, it's going to be Josh Castellano. But I'm also wondering if he's thinking of something like Kemple, Kemple, on top of Ballneal, making Ka and El. Kemple would score 38 points. That is four fewer than map like, a little bit more dangerous. And if he sees map like, he absolutely has to play it.
I don't know. I mean, if you see map like, you absolutely have to play it if you're certain it's a word. I do agree with that part of the analysis, but map like is one of those weird like words. Scrabble, of course, just infinite, maddening like words, which of these are and are not acceptable, but it is the top option by a lot if he's able to spot it and if he's confident enough in that word. We're going to have a word knowledge check here for Josh Castellano. Other backup options, Kimple's great.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Wait, what is he doing?
He's setting up limp on
Limp.
his rack. So I guess he's
Interesting.
going to play map
Limp
like.
for 36, keeping
Flimp?
EEK.
Is that what he's thinking about here?
Is that what he's thinking? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Josh Castellano whisperer now. I'm just like learning what these players are doing, and I can just call it before you know it. That is not what I was expecting from him. I really would have liked to see Map like come down. I think maybe he thought that Kemple was a little too dangerous. He could just score as much in a more defensive spot. He doesn't need to open up the board. But on to Chris now. He's just got Woe, plays it extremely quickly. I think Woe is a fantastic play here. Nothing, I don't think there's much to complain about here.
Oh man, yeah. So WOE comes down really quickly, and yeah, I agree. I'm not
Oh,
going to
wow.
complain about that play. That's solid, and wow, especially if you're going to reach into the bag and draw a blank, that's a very solid play. Let's see what Chris draws. CEIS. He picks up a T, an O, and a D. He's going to bingo this turn. 3 playable bingos on the rack for Chris Lipe. And Josh is going to respond first, but Chris looking to get a bingo down next turn. Wow, wow, wow. We are off to the races here. I never try to root for one player over another in the commentator booth, but I always try to root for drama. And the dramatic solution to this tournament is that Chris Lipe wins. Things get absolutely crazy, bonkers, complicated, and like 6 people have a shot to win with 2 games to go. So in this game, this commentator is going to have slight Chris Lipe vibes. It's only for drama. Nothing against Josh. He's an awesome dude. I hung out with him in the lobby a long time last night, but we like drama.
Maybe that's why you were running a little late because you like that drama.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was. Just
Not puking my guts out.
wanted to spice it up for all of us. Oh, I think Josh is gonna find out in about a few seconds now that there is no bingo here that he can play. He's still gonna do his due diligence, which is good to see. He's gonna have to get rid of the W. He's gonna have to get rid of the K. The question is, how many E's does he get rid of alongside that, right? So what if he's playing weak, WEEK, underneath Insani? And what is, I guess, the advantage of that? Now he's seen his opponent play WOE. Can he infer anything from that move? Is that going to make him decide or change his decision of if he plays KNEW from the end of Insani, making KA, or does he play something like weak? He's gonna have to make a stylistic and a strategic decision here.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of different lines of approach on this turn, but I think the coolest one is to play WEEK and EW. It sets up the back hook WEEKE, valid in CSW for those less familiar with this lexicon. It sets up the back hook behind EW as well, and it keeps EM blank in tow. You're likely to draw bingo next turn after week, and it's almost certain to fit based on the play you made. So
Absolutely.
weak is crushing in a simulation. I think that's the play here, but I don't know. There's a lot of other options. It makes sense that you called out. Let's see what Chris does. Or, I'm sorry, what
Interesting.
Josh does.
He's looking at, I think he's looking at new, like KNEW. He's got them off to the side. I think he's seen the spot. He knows that it doesn't take any back hooks. I'm surprised to see this come down a little bit. It is the same points as weak. This is 27 points. I'm surprised that he kept the two E's. Maybe he's thinking that WEEK is a little too aggressive, but it doesn't really matter if it's too aggressive. He's got the blank. Even if his opponent's fishing, Josh is still going to be able to come back with a bingo. So interesting decision on his part. I don't think uh, new is necessarily a terrible, horrible mistake. I just think that there is a better equity decision, a better stylistic and strategic decision to be made here. And I think weak would have been it. And as you mentioned previously, Chris has 3 bingos to pick from. Wow. And he's got one that is, that stands out 10 points ahead the rest of them.
Oh boy. Okay. So yes, here it comes. Not going to waste any more time. Cotized, COTISED, is coming down for Chris. This is by 10 points his highest scoring bingo. And again, just showing the precision of most of these players. When you get a rack like this, you're going to crush it. Chris is going to crush it. Josh would crush this play in like 8 seconds. The same. People are really confident on these high probability bingos. Chris throwing it down here. He's now ahead by a big score, 271 to 185. But Josh is going to hit back here.
Absolutely. He's probably going to come back with metering, METERING, to the G of Grainier. And what that's going to do is it's going to get him 83 points. He's going to need those 83 points. He wants to be neck and neck with Chris. This is barely going to get him there. This is an important decision for him to make. If he plays something like Emerite from the E of woe, that is only 78 points. He does not want to give up those 5 points, even if it does put a few floaters out in space. It puts an A and an E out in space. I think it's important for him to just get the points and move on.
Yeah. So I'm honestly surprised that we've seen Josh take his time, even just this much. One line is going to score the most. You got to hit the G. So I'm going to look right there. Okay, if there's a G in space, I'm going to play ing to it probably. Oh, metering. That's my bingo. I'm really surprised. I mean, it's Monday morning in New Orleans. Everybody's a little bit off their rocker, and if you're not off your rocker, then you're not doing New Orleans right. But metering is definitely the play. There's really not even strategic stuff to talk about here. Josh
Right.
just we'll see how much time he spends before he plays it. This is a tough rack with a lot of possibilities, but one of those possibilities is going to score the most if you take the triple word square.
Right.
That metering should be on the board soon.
So what he's probably doing is he's looking at the board. He's seeing where can I score the most. So he knows that if he goes to the triple, his word is going to be, it's going to be multiplied by 3, and then he gets the 50 points. But there's also the possibility of a double on this board. There are 2 double word scores that we see, and that is under Insani. He's going to try and fit something there if he can, and he's going to find out as he iterates through the tiles that nothing is going to slot there to give him 4 times the score of his word as opposed to 3 times. And I think once he does that, he's going to go ahead and stick with metering. Unless, of course, he makes a stylistic decision for some other reason. But I'd really, really like to see metering come down in the next minute or so.
Oh, you know what? There are double possibilities on this board. I'm having a hard time this morning getting distracted by other events, but there are double possibilities. So this actually warrants quite a bit of time from Josh. You really want to find every single 7 you can. You want to make sure none of them fit there in the commentator booth. I just push a button and it tells me, which is nice. But Josh is going to take some time here, and Josh should take some time here. And then eventually he's going to hit that surrender cobra. We'll see how long he spends, but
Right.
he's looking for doubles, and then metering is going to come down.
And if he can get that M just under that A of Insani, and he's able to play a bingo here, he can score something like 96 points. And 96 is so much more than 83. He's recognized that the double spot is going to give him a lot more points than one would when it's a word that ends to the G. So I think this is a very crucial moment for him. I think he's gonna wonder afterwards. There's a possibility, oh, did I miss a double double? But then again, Josh Castellano's so strong on his words, so strong on his word knowledge. I'm sure he's gonna realize, oh, I iterated through all of the letters and I didn't miss anything. Metering is the correct play here. I just hope that he makes this move quickly. So he seems to be gearing up to pick up his tiles. There we go. Metering is going to come down. Fantastic. 83 points for Josh Castellano.
I can't find a double double if it's not there, and I would be very concerned if you did find a double double on that turn if you're Josh. So he waits, he takes his time, tries to find 90 points, but 86 is all, or 83 rather, is all he's going to be able to find. Top play from Josh Castellano, as we come to expect. North American champion, word machine. He played some really sick stuff in anagrams in the lobby at like 2 a.m. last night. So he's a beast mode on display there. And we have a 3-point game here, Nits. I'm
Oh my God.
excited.
Wow, 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 wow. So now Chris has a decision to make, right? So Josh has just drawn 7 random tiles and there are 2 S's unseen. He has the option between playing a little bit more aggressively. He has the option to play something like Yarko, Yarco, which does take an S. It's Australian slang for a young working class person. So it takes an S. He can go ahead and get 36 points for Yarko through the sea of Kotized, or he can play Yonder for 33 instead, keeping AO. And Yonder is not going to make him happy. AO is not a fun little leave, but has his opponent drawn the S with 7 tiles randomly picked out of the bag.
Oh man, yeah, Yarko's a hard play to pull the trigger on 2 unseen S's and an unseen blank, and my opponent just drew a bunch of tiles, and I don't have any of them. But Yarko is so
Nice.
strong from an equity perspective. Chris is forced to do this easily the top option on the sim. The next S drawn is going to be very important. Josh hasn't found it on his rack. Hinoqtu. The next S is huge. We'll see what Chris finds in that
This
bag.
is incredible. And one thing that he has done, he's luckily pulled out a U to go with that Q. You want to see that U when you have a Q in play on your rack. It's not actually a terrible idea to hold on to that Q sometimes. So Josh Castellano now, putting his tiles in alphabetical order. One thing that he does know is that a Q, when kept with the U, is not a terrible leave at all. So there might be a small possibility that he plays something like Ethion, Ethon, from the E of Insani. That would be 39 points. And it would set up that Q if he's able to draw an eye into it.
That Ethion is the right play this turn, but just on paper, it feels really off. Like, well, okay, I've got this really nice rack with the Q and a U and some flexible tiles to go with it, so I'm not going to play them. But there's really nothing to do with the Q, and Ethion is a great scoring play. And as you said, if you're going to hold on to the Q, that's okay, but you got to hold on to the Q and the U together. And that's what Josh has done here. He's also set up QI and QI stacks next to this if he draws an I here. Let's see if he gets it. But this is a great play by Josh. That's a trap turn that a lot of people spend a lot of time on. Josh automatic on that. That's
Beautifully
impressive.
done. Beautifully done. You see the T, you see the I, you see the N. You want to hold them together. You think, oh, let me keep that together. And he's gone ahead and he's gotten 39 points. Really, really well spotted. He didn't even spend all this time thinking about, wait, where am I going to dump my Q? He just went ahead and made himself a spot. Now, we know that he hasn't drawn an I, unfortunately, but there's still that Q spot for just 21 points. On to Chris Lipe now, whose best play is very, very tricky. I don't know if he's going to spot it. I hope he does. It's on the interior, kind of center of the board. He has to spot that A of Volar. He has to recognize that he can play on row 7, making JE something. He can make Jet, he can make Jete, he can make Jian. All of these are really great plays, going to score him a lot.
Yeah, Nits, as she said, that spot on top of Volar, possibly seating the best play here for Josh, but I'm actually not sure that you want to play any of these. There's a strong one-tile fish if you just play the J right now for 26 THJ on that triple letter square. You're going to draw bingos a lot of the time. BENOST doesn't necessarily look like a bingo stem, but it hits with ADEHIKLMNORT and U, and those are only the sevens you might possibly hit. So that is a strong fish. It feels really counterintuitive to fish one into BENOST. But that's a strong
Wow.
little nucleus of a rack. JEON scoring a lot of points, or Jete, as you mentioned. Those are good plays, but actually winning a simulation right now is Taj. That's wild. That's very counterintuitive.
That's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I wonder if the 43 points just matter so much here that it might not be worth trying to fish. That said, he is going to be able to play a bingo on this board relatively easily. The board is not, oh my God, look at that. He's found it. He's found it. Beautiful. 36 points instead of 26. I'm a huge fan of this play. BONES. Still a good leave. I mean, there are plays on this board to play through. I'm a fan of Jet. I'm a fan of Gian. This is a really good find.
All right, so Jet, the decision from Chris, and an interesting decision from Josh in the intermission between those plays. He kept QU last turn. Remember, he's drawn FSTVZ, and every time we see someone draw a bunch of hot garbage in one draw, they win the game. So Josh with a tough turn here, but spooky omens. I think Josh might just win.
Very neck and neck game. I really don't know if I can call it yet. It's so hard to see who might win this. I mean, the thing is that Josh has a fantastic blade that uses the U, but it does not use the Q. And he has to recognize, like maybe there's somewhere on the board that I can dump off that U later, or maybe you keep that U. Here, I'm thinking maybe you see that A of Grainier. Maybe you just get rid of two of your clunkier tiles. Maybe you get rid of the F. Maybe you get rid of the V. You can just play Fav, which is a new word. That said, Josh Castellano on the stream before has blanked on int, which is a new word. It's a new addition. Fav is also an addition to Collins 2024. We are in January. This is, the month that we've started playing the Collins 2024 lexicon. So I hope he's going to be able to spot it. He's got the V off to the side. I wonder, sorry, no, he's got the Q off to the side. Is he looking at a place for Q, just dumping the Q, or like cat of the A of Grainier? I hope he doesn't do so. I hope he's able to recognize that that FVU combo is horrific. Better to just get rid of the F and V if he can.
This is an extremely challenging turn for Josh Castellano. I know you've got opinions about the plays and you'd like to see what you hope, but I have no idea what I hope because I have no idea what's correct here. Playing the Q feels really good. Playing the Q and the Z at the same time with Quiz feels good. Not playing any of it with FAV feels good. Josh has to pick a plan and just kind of commit to it. The first thing I'd be looking to do here with an unwieldy rack is examining the unseen pool. 9 vowels and 12 consonants means you've got a reasonable mix. I've got some vowels, some consonants coming my way in the future. I'd be looking at spots for this Z. Is it possible at all that I bomb this tile? And Josh has come into a good conclusion here. The Z's actually not strong right now. The Z's such a strong CSW tile, but there's just no opportunity for it here. He's going to eject. He's going to keep QUS together, and I think he's going to threaten some big points with that Q next turn. We'll see what he draws.
Really interesting. I mean, I don't know if he necessarily needs to do that. I mean, the U, keeping the U is not as dangerous here. There's still 2 U's unseen to him, but that's, I mean, now I'm just, kind of just nitpicking here, which
That's what
makes
you do,
sense.
Nit.
Hey, thank you. I was going to make that joke, but you got there before I did. So
Boom, baby.
fist
Fist bump.
bumping
Yeah.
in the chat. There we
Yeah.
go. So we've got Josh playing off Fizz. I did not expect that. I thought that he would hang on to that Z. I thought maybe he'd play Cat. I mean, Fizz still better than Cat here. And now for Chris, perhaps, although he doesn't have a 7-letter word, maybe he doesn't have a bingo. He does have a 7-letter word through a tile that's already on the board.
Oh my goodness. Chris has 60 points available to him as a non-bingo on this move. That is incredible. It's tough to spot. I would miss this over a board for sure. But the T in Ethion gives him benthos. BENTHOS. Double, double for 60. That would be unbelievable if we see that, but that is Chris's top option here.
That's incredible.
If you want to win this game, Chris, find the hard play, impress us all.
You really gotta have the wits about you to look in that spot. And I think Chris is definitely capable of doing so. I don't know if it's the most human play. I don't know if it's so easy to see. It's just such a weird little position. I think he might end up just playing through the D of Kotized. I mean, what if he plays something like Hodden, Hodden, through the D? Or maybe he plays something like Bonded. I feel like those two are slightly more human, slightly easier to see. He's still keeping, that S. He can go ahead and try and bingo later. All right, maybe I'm the Chris Whisperer in this turn.
You just whispered Chris, and he's found the play you were talking about right on cue. Bonded, 33 points, HS, a strong leave, and the next draw for Chris Lipe is going to be huge. If he draws a bingo, the game is all but his. If he finds trouble, we're going to have a nice little end game here. Our first game of the last day from New Orleans. Big draw coming your way.
Just incredible. I mean, look at that pool. Look at that pool. He's hopefully going to be able to draw something nice out of it. Oh, no, no,
Nits,
no, 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 not again. Not
okay.
again.
Nits.
Well,
we have been talking about
No.
this.
Wait. Look. He got the blank. He got the blank. So it's not as worse. It's not as bad as it could have been. See. I am. I'm so sorry.
Look what you made him do. Look at him. He's just sitting there.
Oh my God.
This turn is going to explode my brain, and I know it, and everybody's watching. Look what you did, Nits.
I hope
That's
Chris
on you.
knows that I'm like really, really apologetic for jinxing him like this. I keep thinking I've learned my lesson, and then it's like day 3, and I'm still like giving them bad tiles. I am so apologetic. I really do hate to see this. And what is Josh to do? I think now is a great time to get rid of that U. Great time to get rid of that Q. He knows he's probably going to draw into another U at this point, right? There's still 2 unseen.
2 U's unseen, but with the Q on your rack and the game rapidly approaching its end, I don't know. I think you can wait and assume you're going to draw another one here.
I don't even know if he needs to try super hard to bingo here, right? I mean, like, okay, so you're gonna have to give me your thoughts on this, but I'm thinking you get Sook down, right? You get SUQ down for 33 points, making Yarkos. It leaves you with VERT. You can kind of make like an over bingo. There's an O of Bonded that's there if you want to go and hit that. You are still able to play off 7 tiles. You could get a bingo there. There's a D to play through, the E to play through. Maybe he doesn't need to bingo, but maybe this is a perfectly fine decision to make. Gets the points and still is somewhat likely to bingo.
This is a huge turn, and unfortunately, Josh doesn't have a whole lot of time to fully dissect it. Playing the Q, Shuk and Yarko makes a lot of sense. Leaving the Q on your rack with 2 U's to be drawn out of the bag makes some sense. ERUV and WE next to new is also 32, holds QST, gives you 4 opportunities to draw one of the UU blanks in the bag. That seems like a decent line here, but you're down 40 points. You're probably going to get 2 more moves after the one you make now. Points are huge right now, but bingoing in this game might just win it for you. I don't know. This is a really challenging turn, and in a time crunch, Josh is going to do what I think a lot of players would do here. This feels right to me, but that's a turn where if you have 7 minutes, you'd love to spend 7 minutes. Josh doesn't have that luxury. Shuk the play, ERTV the leave, and he would love to go in and draw that blank. Not possible. It's already on Chris's rack. He's probably going to find the U's instead. Big draw, though. If the U's stay in the bag, we've got a really interesting game of Scrabble.
It's really important that he was able to get that U off his rack, though. I mean, he needs to recognize 2 still coming for him. Maybe we'll see 1 on his rack. And for Chris now, with that kind of abysmal draw, thanks to my jinx, my unintended jinx, he's gonna have to play off something like PAX for 23 or burn that blank. You see that spot of ball kneel and forget, it's gonna make tax, and you make that blank an A, you make AX, you get 54 points, keeping CDHPS. There's still 7 vowels that are unseen to you, 4 consonants. I mean, do you take the risk here?
Oh man, this is a challenging turn for Chris, and fortunately for him, he does have the time to really think this through. But first thing you want to do is check how many tiles are in the bag. There are four. I'm not playing four. I'd like to play about two. Dropping the X right here. Well, that's a good way to play two. It doesn't score enough that I
Wow.
can outrun your bingos, but the leave is so strong in terms of scoring opportunities next turn that even if Chris gets hit by a bingo now, he can still win the game. I think I like this. I think I like this.
That's really, really, really interesting. Josh behind now, he's got a pretty great lead. And if he goes ahead and just plays off that V for just like 9 points, I think that could be a good shot to victory for him, right? Like, so there are nine unseen tiles, which means there's two in the bag. If he fishes off that V, he keeps um, AENRTU. Maybe he plays something like VAW. Maybe he plays that for 9. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, with two tiles in the bag and no playable bingos, you were looking to fish one. You can't fish two. That'll give your opponent perfect information. And when you play against really good people, when they have perfect information, they will block your opportunities. You want to play one, and the worst tile for bingos on your rack is that V. VAW feels more and more and more instinctive the longer I look at this position. Josh in a time crunch is probably going to play it soon, but he can take his time for a little bit. If he draws a bingo, it's going to be his last move, and he'll find any bingo in 10 seconds or less. So take your time. Make sure VAW is the move you want to make. Spend your last 2 minutes. I think we're going to see the fish. I agree.
Is there any way that he plays? There's no way he's going to play something like Erov, right? You'd mentioned it last time for 32 points. It still plays because he's gone ahead. He's picked out a U from the bag. That's 32. That will get him up like just 30 points behind Chris. There's no way that wins. He has to, like, he's identified that he needs to get rid of that V. He identifies that he's got to try and bingo, or he's got to try and score. Um, there's no way. Oh my
You
gosh.
can't play a roof. It's just 100% lose in this game state. You've got to take a stab at something, and you want to make sure you take the best stab you can. So Josh is going through right now. If I fish the V off, what could I possibly draw out of the unseen tiles? If I fish the U off, are there other things I could draw instead? But as you look at that unseen pool, you're going to have to get pretty lucky, I think, and you have to fish the V. There's so much that just doesn't synergize with the V in the pool. VAW for 9 is Josh's best way to win this game, and actually inside of the bag is EE. We can see Chris's Lipe where the or Chris's wreck where the eye in the sky. EE in the bag means a V fish. He'll draw D nature down from the D, and we're gonna have a lot of drama in this game.
Oh my God.
We're not done yet, folks. New Orleans and the voodoo never stop.
A beautiful early morning game to get us started. Josh taking his time, though he's going to need this time for the end game when when his denature is going to be blocked and Chris is going to have to figure out um, how to do so. Josh needs to, oh my gosh, he's played VAU.
Oh, he's emptied the bag.
That's interesting. Oh my
The
God.
entire viewing gallery in the hallway just screamed at the same time when they saw this play. So I will let them provide the analysis and commentary. I will let them tell you what they think about VAU. That'll be nice.
Wow.
And EE, the last two tiles out of the bag for
Yeah.
Josh. You got to be tilting a little bit after seeing
Yeah.
EE come out.
Unfortunately, he's not winning this one. Oh my gosh.
When you
That
make poor choices, sometimes they come back to haunt you.
he needed to fish just the V. But it's hard to make the decision, right? Like it's hard to make the
In
decision
a
in
time
this.
crunch, yeah,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah.
With 57 seconds to go, that is tough. I mean, this is going to be a tough loss. Chris going up to 12 and 5. Josh going to also 12 and 5 after this. Chris just needs to spot his wins. There are quite a few. That's all he needs to do here, and he's going to go ahead. He's going to track. He has enough time, more than enough time, 5 minutes and more. To be able to make sure his tracking is correct, make sure he knows exactly what Josh has on his rack, and then block that.
All right, I'm running it through just for a thought exercise. If the V had been plunked and the E had been drawn, Josh still loses. If Chris blocks his bingo, there is one winning sequence for Chris after VAW fished from Josh. You would have to find it. But the game technically, according to optimal strategy, was his. Chris could play HEIDUC. threw the E and bonded. That is the only way Chris could win the game after VAW. But Chris, technically, with the path to victory, I don't know that Josh blew the game on VAU, but that play felt
That's a good
off.
point. That's a really good point. I'm glad that you brought that up. It really, yeah, there's many times when it just comes down to what your opponent is going to do with the tiles that they have. And there's only so much that you can control. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. This is a tough game. It's a tough position to be in. And with 1 minute on your clock, it's really difficult to make these decisions.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, in a time crunch, you can't assess this correctly. I have an engine, I have an anagrammer, I have the chat at my disposal with several defending world North American champions in it. Like, it's easy to sound really snarky and smarmy in the booth and say you lost the game on this turn, but Josh just didn't have the time to do a full analysis. You know, he'd lost too much time earlier on in this game. And I don't know. I don't know. Who knows what would have happened if we saw VAW? Maybe Chris would have figured out the end game. Maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe he would have run out of time. There's so many things you can think and say, but not going to get the drama unfolding that I hoped for in this game. But we are going to get the drama unfolding in the tournament now. Again, Josh taking the loss here means everything is so ridiculously interesting for the last 3 rounds.
Right. And here's the thing, right? I mean, Chris needs to have tracked correctly. He needs to see that there is a bingo playable for Josh right now. He needs to block it. And I mean, there's still a chance for drama. What if Chris hasn't tracked correctly? What if he goes and tries to block the D or something? Then Josh, he can still come back. It just depends on Chris having dotted his I's and crossed his T's and having done his paperwork, as you always mention. It's really important for Chris to take his time, make sure he's not making any mistakes here.
Yeah. I mean, these situations are tough, and if Chris doesn't play this appropriately, he can lose the game for sure. So we'll see.
All right, on to Chris making his best move here. He can play Acid for 14, and he has a bunch of plays that are just going to block Josh's bingo. Any of these are going to help out. He just needs to find one.
Yeah, there's just the one playable bingo unseen as far as I can tell, and that is enter ate, E-N-T-E-R-A-T-E through the T in Etheon. It's tough to spot that. We saw Chris misplays in that exact same spot earlier. We saw benthos available and not seen. But what does he have set up on his rack? C blank IPS. Where is this going to go?
That's a really good question. Let's see. Is he looking at?
I don't see what he's looking at right now. Maybe he's going to play HUD somewhere. I'm not sure exactly what.
Oh, maybe he's going to play Thud. There we go.
Oh yeah, just Thud from the T, take out Enter and win the game.
Yeah.
Chris has 2 more minutes on his clock. You want to look at every single floater like 4 different times here and make 100% sure there's only Enter. But great, Chris has spotted Josh's bingo. Chris has blocked Josh's bingo. Chris Lipe is going to win this game. Great decision there.
Good for him. Good for him. 16 points for Thud, and now Josh to do something with his unplayable bingo. Possibly just get rid of Rateen. What do you feel about that? Just Rateen. You can't do much. Oh, wow. Is he going to try and phony? Oh, definitely getting challenged, right? Yeah, there we go. Instantly.
You play to win the game. You take, if you're even 1%, this is a word. You must try it if you're Josh. I'm not gonna criticize this for even a second. Try to win, but this is not a word. This is gonna come off. Again, I want to point out on Chris's on Josh Castellano's final play, VAU, you can't empty the bag. And this is exactly why. When you empty the bag, Chris knows what your rack is. Chris blocks what you draw, and then you lose. You empty the bag. Chris saw what your rack was. You even drew the bingo you needed, and then he just blocked it and you lost. You need to play one. You need to keep some fog of war at play. VAW versus VAU is a big decision. And after the lost turn, Chris will go out. Big Chris Lipe victory here means a lot of drama in New Orleans. I'm excited for that.
Wow.
Let's cut to overhead mic and see if we catch a post-mortem after this wild one.
Plus 14. Yeah. Go there. I didn't see. I didn't really like move it too much, but like, yeah, it was nice block. I was gonna try enter 8 first.
Yeah.
For sure.
Possible. I saw meat error. That's not approved.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, yeah.
Blocking each other's early bingo.
Hmm?
You all kept blocking each other's early bingo.
Yeah, you blocked
Find some
Florani.
weird magic.
Yeah. Yeah, do I miss any?
You
Bingo.
blocked for you blocked good here.
Oh, I did? Nice. Oh, I guess I did. Yeah, enter. Yeah. Nice game. Is there a double-double and I played metering? Okay. Yeah.
What's the correct?
I kind of thought maybe it was like
Shot.
plausible, I guess, for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which?
At the end, it says
Oh, yeah.
you.
Yeah, I can't do anything else. Maybe I'm supposed to fish the V, but I didn't like my odds. One in the bag.
If you
Only
did that,
one
you only have
child.
one game. Oh. Like, you only
From
have
his
one
perspective or in the bag?
like,
At all?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's one insane player that blocks it.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow, with the blocks. And well, you would have had a non-serve, there's a ton of.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about.
Oh,
like,
that's crazy.
but, you know,
It's really insane.
if I play ball, you could maybe might pass sometimes if I don't have.
It really, to me, I was looking at it intuitively, did not seem like I did this. Is insane.
Yeah, I thought my best shot was just trying to draw 2. I don't know.
You also have less than
Yeah.
Well, no, no, I was burning the time there because I was like, 8.2. Which one Cowfish's hit? Not enough. So,
All right. One of the other nice things about having on-site commentary, as Lindsay and Austin have so generously provided for this one, is Josh Sokol can run out, look over my shoulder at the entire quackle position, and then run into the room and tell everybody what they did wrong. So appreciate Josh Sokol on standby, bringing commentary, bringing analysis, bringing mistakes to these players. Kate's been doing that all weekend, but Josh quicker to identify the key turns and tell the players, perhaps a little bit less tactful about it. That was a cool game. Really did come down to the last turn. Lots of dramatic swings. Chris Lipe taking the victory. He'll move up to 12-5. Josh Castellano bumping back down to 12-5. And in the intermission there, Dave Wiegand comes out. Dave was 9-7, but still within striking distance, and came out, fist bumped me, and said, phase 1 is complete of the comeback. So we'll see. Maybe Dave Wiegand comes back and wins this thing with a hot 4-0. Maybe Josh Castellano shakes off this tough loss. Maybe Chris Lipe hangs on and wins the thing. There's so many good players in this room. We have 3 more games of Scrabble. We'll figure them out. We're going to figure out the most drama. We're going to have to wait a little bit for pairings all day today, but we will figure out what we're going to play next and have it back for you in just a minute. Another post-morteming again, but I think we're going to cut to a break. This commentator needs some oxygen desperately. 3 more games from Crescent City. Matt Canik, Nits Chagti. We'll be back in just a minute.